Dr. T.P. Sashikumar is retired as a senior scientist from ISRO, Indian Space Research Organization, and he has also served in the Prime Minister's office during Dr. Manmohan Singh in the inter. So with this brief introduction, I request Dr. TPS to take over. Dr. TPS.
Namaskaram and pranams to my brother. We are supposed to discuss on Dharma, Adharma, Swadharma. That is the subject given.
Dr. TPS.
Yeah.
Just a delicate request.
Yeah.
I have a difficulty to claim my host status, and because of which recording is a problem. Can you make some arrangements of recording from your side? Is it possible?
I am anyway doing it.
Excellent. That will be great. So please continue, sir.
So the topic given is Dharma, Dharma, Swadharma. I think last discussion sometime casually, probably unconsciously, I would have mentioned some word of Dharma, Dharma, Swadharma, something like that. Somebody's mic is on. If you can switch off, that echoing sound will not come. I think Srinivas-ji's mic is on. Yeah, good enough. Thank you. So generally, when we talk about Dharma, it is individual Dharma. I am supposed to take care of my physique, my emotional requirements, my intellectual requirements. I keep talking like Maslow's law, the basic requirement of physical, then emotional, then intellectual. That is close to the self. When it comes to me identifying as part of the society, because we are all social beings, our individual gets expanded to the next level, that is the social dharma. The social dharma can be on different accounts. It could be on my professional dharma when it comes to profession, my religious dharma when it comes to my religious practices, and social dharma in today's context. Probably we can think of what is that I do in the society for my development. It could be political, it could be any of the profession which I do. So it keeps growing, expanding to the level. If Prime Minister has to do a social commitment for the whole nation, but if a small community has to be done by a community service people, that society can be a limited society. So it expands as much as we want. But then when I am aware of such a dharma, that is what is called a dharma. I have a dharma for the society. How well we balance this dharma? Does it contradict? Is it my personal dharma contradicts with my family dharma? Is my family dharma contradicts and conflicts with the societal dharma? When altogether it is justified, probably we say he is a dharmic person. If I am only looking at my individual dharma, I am not concerned about the social dharma. That is how the Hindu itself is called a Hindu dharma. It is not called a Hindu religion. The Hindu Dharma Shastra prescribes how a Hindu has to live in the society. Because we have a large concept called Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam. When I say I am looking at the whole universe as my family, in fact we should only look at like that. Then I should not talk about other religious people are my enemies and then fight with them. All that should not happen. So I am supposed to balance. Ultimately that is what I want. So when for a larger community my dharma is not accepted by the larger community. What is that larger community? Whether it is Sattvic people or Rajasic people or Tamasic people. It depends. Whether it is countersigned by the so-called Sattvic or maybe Daivik Sankalpas. Where do we see such examples? Srinivas-ji in the introduction was telling we are with the nature, nature is the world. It is not really true today. That nature concept, we are part of the nature, we are not away from nature, we are living with the nature. That concept is called Satya Yuga. In Satya Yuga, nature and we had a very strong combination. There is no fight at all because they lived like no selfishness, everybody shares. But then you look at the next Yuga called Treta Yuga, you can see two societies had a fight. I want your property, I want your property, I want your wife. So it was between two societies. Rama, Ravana is two different societies in which they took the help of another set of people like Vananas. You can see it is between the Sattvic, Rajasic, Tamasic people fighting each other, having combination of sharing the resources for the purpose which they wanted to have. That is what Ramayana is. But when it came to the Dwapara Yuga, the conflict is in between families itself. In same family, cousins have started fighting each other. That is where the Daivika Sankalpa Krishna came and intervened and then said, what you are doing is fine, but if that is not countersigned by the public requirement, even if you are a fighter fighting as a Kshatriya without knowledge, that is not justified. So what is that knowledge you want? That knowledge of your own property. What is your property? Your property is, what is Dharma of Salt? Saltness is the Dharma of Salt. Now Dharma has to be identified like that. What is the property of sugar? Swadharma. What is property of Swadharma of sugar? Giving sweet wherever it is added. So what is the property of a soldier? Wherever he is there, he must be able to fight. But when you are intellectually higher, your social responsibility is seen with a large wisdom and knowledge. So knowledge has got a great role. And whose knowledge has got a great role? Only those people who wanted to acquire knowledge. Only those people who wanted to acquire knowledge, their knowledge influences their actions. That is why you can see Bhagavad Gita is a Dharma Shastra where Dharma is not taught. Dharma is understood by. Now we talk about learning and teaching. Actually Bhagavad Gita is not learning and teaching. Bhagavad Gita is what Arjuna has to understand, and if there is a doubt he can keep on asking questions and Krishna keep on giving clarifications. So it's unfortunate that when somebody speaks about Bhagavad Gita, it cannot be a monologue, because Bhagavad Gita itself is not a monologue. There is a dialogue. So I keep believing a master is formed not because he has knowledge. A master is formed only because he has got a student who wants to learn something from him. I am useless if I don't have a good student with me. Therefore, how do you improve your own action, karma, with a lot of consciousness into that, with the knowledge which I acquire with the master? Therefore, my karma becomes clean. So my karma becomes clean that becomes Swadharma. Otherwise also I do my job. But how do I make my action so clean with the knowledge added to that, so that I will not question myself tomorrow, oh, I should not have done it. When do we question ourselves? Who questions all of us? It is we ourselves question us, oh, I should not have done it. That question should not come to me. See, for example, just before this session was starting, Srinivas-ji was mentioning that every human being has to go for self-actualization. Actually, self-actualization is learning I don't want. How do I make sure myself that I don't have an intention in my life is what is self-actualization. And you know which is the biggest enemy on self-actualization? The intention of being self-actualized person is the biggest crime. Everybody is looking for learning meditation. Learning meditation becoming your primary requirement itself is the biggest harm on meditation. That is why it is not what you learn, it is not what you acquire, it is that comes to you. How does it come? That can come with a lot of different knowledge which you have. In different forms you keep asking question. You attain a level in which whatever actions you do, you will not be questioning yourself. Therefore your action becomes unquestionable. For whom? Not for anybody else, for you. You yourself feel so comfortable after doing, oh, what I have done is perfect. I have not done a mistake in my life. When that is justified, when I reach from the Rajasic, Tamasic stage to the Sattvic stage, and Sattvic people think about the society and their spiritual level is highest. Therefore, whatever karma which I do becomes justifiable to everyone. Because how do we do karma? Dharma is equivalent to karma. My dharma is I have to be in action. The time I open my eyes, my interaction with society is there. When I close my eye also, there is a karma which is happening, which is swadharma. My breathing is my swadharma. My digestion is my swadharma. All that has to be clean. So that tomorrow morning when I wake up, I have got that energy to serve the society. So I must eat such a food that will make me, that's all my swadharma. The time I open and interact with the people, my social dharma, karma will come. There is no point in becoming inactive. So action itself is your swadharma. Whose action? I must do my action, not copying from somebody else. So how do I define my karma? With my interaction with the society, my role to play in a bigger way, in a better way, which helps somebody else. Otherwise, whatever I do, a routine, preparing my food and eating, learning, earning money, that and all is not considered as karma at all. That is not my dharma also. Even going to a temple and doing puja is not considered as dharma. That is ishta karma. Ishta karma is not dharma. Purta karma is what is dharma. What I do for the society is what is called the dharmic activity. So how do I make sure that action which I do for somebody else will not question me back saying, oh, I should have done or I should not have done it. This clearance is what Bhagavad Gita is giving. So how do Krishna tells you that how do your karma become clean? How does it become clean? That becomes clean only when uddharet atmanatmanam atmanam avasadhayet atmaiva hyatmano bandhu atmaiva ripuratmanaha. Lift the lower knowledge to the highest knowledge so that my brain, my manas and my buddhi, everything gets into my atma level so that whatever I do in my life becomes justifiable for my atma, the soul. The judge will not question me after the action. That's a great achievement which anybody can achieve in this world. That is what Bhagavad Gita is teaching. How do you achieve a clean knowledge, a higher knowledge? So the 17 chapters in Bhagavad Gita is to make sure that you get whatever great knowledge you want to get in your life, so that your karma is justified by your own thoughts. So how do you become not adharmic is because of that. There is a great message between Dharmaputra and the group is dharmic. Duryodhana is adharmic. That's what generally we say. So the Kaurava were father and mother both are blind. I am sure Gandhari would have asked, or there are references in Mahabharata where she is asking her son, why are you like this? Why can't you be a good boy? Like every mother loves their children to be good. What is being good? Not as a king. As a dharmic person, why can't you do your jobs without disturbing somebody else? Therefore, there is a beautiful stanza which Duryodhana says, Janami dharmam. Janami dharmam. I know what is dharma. Because both Duryodhana and Dharmaputra studied in same class. Same professor taught them. Nacha me pravarti. I am not able to do it. So what is the point in knowing what is dharma, what is adharma, when I am not able to do my dharma perfectly? Therefore, dharma is not important. Doing dharma is what is important. So, janami dharmam nachame pravritti. Not even that. Janami adharmam. I know what should not be done. Nachame nivritti. I am not able to stop doing it. So, that is the difficulty which who had? Duryodhana had. Why is it happening like that? Kena api kamena hrudistitena yatha niyuktosi tata karomi. I am being driven by my desire. So who is the enemy for dharma? Unwanted desire. Where is desire coming from? Your surroundings. Who is picking it up? Your indriyas. How the indriyas are picking it up? Because your brain is not cleaning up. The manas always have got I want without license. So my buddhi is supposed to rationalize it. And that rationalization should become so natural, you are not taxed. When you are not taxing yourself and rational without taxing you, that becomes what is called a spiritual. So being spiritual is dharmic actually. But not forcing yourself. It should become so natural. Like a mother making a dosha, the round comes. It is not taxing her. Naturally it becomes round. So every action which you do becomes so natural without taxing yourself. That action when you do, it becomes swadharma. So natural because it's your dharma. You are doing it. You are not pretending that you are becoming somebody else. So DrTPS, when I speak, I have got my style. I am not copying somebody's style. If I try to copy and speak like somebody else, then I am doing somebody's dharma. I am putting my quality is lost and I am getting somebody's quality inside me. So what will happen? Every time my brain will start thinking, is it the way? Is it the way? That doesn't happen to me because I am naturally speaking. There is no tax at all. If somebody put an electroencephalograph and check my brain, I see there is nothing happening because brain is not working. It just flows. How does it flow? Because I am so natural in my process of presenting myself. Can you do every activity in your life this? With salt is not giving the salt taste with a lot of intention of being salty. That is there in it. That is what is swadharma. So being so natural is what is self-actualization, realization. So salt is a realized product. Sugar is a realized product. Human beings are not realized product because we always get confused. How to become human being? How to become a social being? Therefore, what will happen? When you go to a place, you see somebody else, you want to talk to them, you will start thinking, should I talk to them or not? If I talk, what will happen? What do they think about me? I want to be social, but I am not. I am pretending that I am social, but I am not social at all. Or maybe I don't want to be social, but I want to pretend that I am social. That also can happen. This is the confusion, this is the conflict which we have. So, understand what is swadharma. That will clarify what all you are doing. So, being spiritual itself is being very, very conscious about all the actions which you do. That is what Bhagavad Gita says. I can refer many slokas here and there and then say that where dharma is being explained, where dharma is not being explained. Luckily, I marked one or two. Probably not required. In case if there is a clarification required or reference comes, some question comes which I can take. I think I should not talk too much. Good enough. This is what I wanted to tell Srinivas ji. Sreyan Swadharmo Vigunaha. This is in 3rd chapter, Karma Yoga. 35th sloka. Probably this is one which, when I opened a few slokas, this is my Bhagavad Gita book. Keep on putting lot of references. So one where dharma is referred, I just put. Sreyan Swadharmo Vigunaha Paradharmat Swanushtitat Swadharme Nidhanam Sreyaha Paradharmo Bhayavaha. When I do paradharma, somebody's job which I keep doing, that is the biggest worry which I have got. So most of the people are worried. Why? Because it doesn't happen that casually for them. That is what is required. Yesterday, I think in some talk I was talking about niyama, discipline. Discipline, when somebody imposes, this is how you should do it, you should be very punctual, it becomes so much taxing for me. But if I become myself disciplined, I enjoy being disciplined. So you be what you are, then you will enjoy. You get forced by somebody else, then you become so much tired. This is what I wanted to tell. I think I wanted to speak maybe 15 to 20 minutes, so I did it. Good enough. Srinivas ji?
Yeah. Are you able to hear me, sir?
Yeah.
Yeah. And there is a power cut here at my end. I do not know what happened to the system. And thank you so much, DrTPS, for a grand start. And I request the participants to come out with their best questions and kindly make the question crisp and clear. Over to the participants. You can ask any valid, crisp and clear question. Please go ahead. Anybody?
It need not be questions. It could be comments or commentaries or maybe your views or disagreement. Anything can be there. I am seeing some chat, but I don't want to pick it up because I believe that probably interaction is much better. Yeah.
Absolutely. And in the meantime, I'll have a look at the chat, and the rest of you can start asking. And before, if friends are taking some time, well, DrTPS, you were saying about at one stage you connected dharma with your spiritual attitude.
Yeah.
Once, right? So is it right for me to understand that when we don't get into the spiritual realm? First of all, I have some very, very fundamental questions, and I'm asking these very honestly also. Basically, the first statement is basically we are spiritual beings in a human form. This is the statement number one, and kindly correct my statement on that. Basically, we are spiritual beings in a human form. And for some reasons, the spiritual element in us, we are not recognizing and moving in accordance with our spiritual capabilities or our spiritual being. Like what you said, in the Satya Yuga, it was all more on the spiritual dominance, and then gradually that element dropped down. Now, in this Kali Yuga, how do we reclaim that, and how do we move in that direction? Can you throw more light on that, sir?
Srinivas ji, one of the biggest crime all of us commit is, one way you yourself said we are all spiritual beings, but the statement started by saying, how do I move to spiritual realm? What is that movement? There are plenty of people in this world who are highly spiritual, but they may not even know the word spiritual. They are so natural by themselves. See, what we today listen as greatest people who are all great spiritual gurus, leaders, probably they are the most stupidest people. They have moved very far away from their real spirituality. Because I wrote a book 20 years back in which I mentioned somewhere spirituality should not be measured. The time you start thinking that, oh, whether I am spiritual or not, itself is being away from spirituality. Yesterday we had a interfaith dialogue in many different religious people were discussing. What happened today is those people who are ritualistic, those people who think they are spiritual and they practice sadhana for spirituality, all these are not. That's what I said. I clearly mentioned being spiritual is doing every activity in your life so natural. A driver driving a vehicle without taxing his brain, without using his indriyas for driving, no buddhi being used, is what is spiritual. There is a saying, my breathing I do without even being conscious about the breathing. The breath happens without my conscious. Only when there is a problem, I am aware of my breath. Will you be able to drive like that without aware of it? Will you be able to dance? You can see dancers. They dance hours together without getting taxed themselves because they enjoy doing it. Somebody's mic is on, so I'm hearing a lot of sound. Yeah, I think that's fine. So what happens is, I am able to do things so casually, so naturally, itself is being spiritual. When you are aware of it, there is a beautiful mission which can be used to know biofeedback. When I was with the Swami Rama, I am from Himalayan tradition, Swami Rama's Himalayan tradition. We have a beautiful lab on biofeedback, electroencephalograph, so many missions are there. See what happens, a meditator can meditate. The time you are being put into a mission to find out whether your brain is functioning and still you are able to chant mantra, you be aware of it, definitely the vibration will start. You are not aware, you can sing a song without even taxing your brain. Do you think a musician is singing by thinking how the word has to come? It's so natural. That's why we say they are a gifted singer, right? How do a driver drives? How do an accident comes, or maybe some vehicle is crossing, somebody is crossing, immediately he presses his brake. Is it that consciously he does it? No, unconsciously you do it. When you go back to your home, will you have a confusion whether this way has to go, that way has to go? When you see your mother's picture, do you have to think whether it is my mother or not? So casually it happens. And that attainment of that for most of the activity which you do is what is called spiritual. Is it that I have to practice myself? No. It comes so casual when you are tuned for that. That is why I had my Guru Swami Rama, Swami Vedabharati. They could speak 17, 18 languages at ease without any problem. It is not that they learned academically that language. When somebody speaks that language, they also get into that. So what we call it as Parakaya Pravesham. Shankaracharya had that. Do you think Shankaracharya meditated for hours together to become Shankaracharya? No. It is so natural and casual. The problem is, many people now today started selling it as a product. We started marketing it. We have got so many useless people being called as spiritual gurus, where they did not even realize it. They started selling it. You pay money, attend a function and bless it and say you are spiritually here. Actually, it's all stupid. Nothing like that. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana. Up to Dharana you can get. Dhyanam, Samadhi is known to be not given. You have to be attained it. So spirituality is to be attained. If you understand that, I think it's a big barrier which stops you to become spiritual. That will go. I don't want is what is that stage. Then how can you say I want. And where is it can be measured? So there is nobody who is spiritual. And I don't know whether I am spiritual. So I have written in my book, this is downloadable. You can download it from my internet website. And there are few stanzas. The book is not to be read. It is just to be opened and then read. So the second portion, lead life spiritually. I have written a. So it is not attaining spirituality. Lead your life spiritually. Okay. So in which, how do you become that? Role, goal, values to be balanced so that you are at peace. And then learning versus being. Spirituality not a skill to be demonstrated. I clearly mentioned it. It's a book written 20 years back. Spirituality is not a skill to be demonstrated. Spirituality is shown in character but not in behavior. It is there in each one of us. But we don't know where to show. Sometimes we become non-spiritual. Right? Though we are sattvic in some places, you become rajasic. We have a lot of examples in Sita behaving differently in different contexts. So Hitler was vegetarian. Ravana used to meditate. So many small bits are there. Each one page you can read. It's a beautiful book which explains practically what is spirituality. I think that is the answer for this question. Yeah.
Sir, I have a question, sir.
Pardon?
I have a question, sir.
Yeah.
Dr. M. Jnanamurali.
Yeah.
The question is, which one is superior? That is truth or dharma? Because Advaitam and Dvaidam, there are two different dharmas.
Oh.
Individual soul and supreme soul is same. One dharma, another dharma it is different. Then, but truth will be one, absolute truth. So, which one dharma is superior to the truth, or truth is superior to dharma, sir?
See, when I say Dvaidam, Advaidam. Advaidam itself says there are two. Dvaidam says there are two. Advaidam says there are no two. Why should I say there are no two? Only when I have a confusion there are two. So similarly, the dharma of salt is being salt. Is it true or not? It is truth. But for me to realize the truth, I have to taste it. So dharma is the property of the salt. Truth is what I realize. When I realize the truth, I tell somebody else, that truth becomes a fact. Then that person who is going to taste it should realize by themselves. So when I present, oh, this is salt. I am telling Atira, saying that this is salt, to take it. That doesn't become truth for Atira unless she realizes it. So truth is what you realize. Dharma is what is the property. So there is no confusion at all. The confusion becomes because when I am explaining something, I need to explain it in such a fashion you realize it. When you realize it, where is the confusion? See, I will tell you, Shankaracharya and most of the speakers after that also talked about confusion for people. What is the confusion? If I am in a dark walking, there is a small rope on the floor. I am confused that whether it is a rope or a snake. So I have got dual, whether it is a rope or a snake. I am so blind that I am fully believing that's a snake. There is nothing dual, it's only one. When I have confusion, there is two things. I have to decide whether it is snake or a rope. When I am blind or I am a totally realized person, there is no confusion, there is only one. My faith is the problem. My faith is what is confusing me. My knowledge makes it very clear. So I should have sufficient knowledge, or I should not have any knowledge so that I am totally clear. The problem of duality, Dvaidam, comes only when I am confused. To clear that confusion only, the Advaitis, Dvaitis started explaining all these concepts with different examples. But what had happened for people, they read here and there without continuity. They don't have a guru. They only learned from somewhere here and there. The continuity is lost. So you need a great continuous. See, assume that you start reading 3rd class or 5th class, then go to PG level. Without going into step by step, you get totally confused. That is why the whole confusion. You need a real mentor, real guru, clarify like this, talk like this. I don't know what I am saying is correct or not, but this is what I got from my gurus. I was blessed to be part of different disciplines, learning from different gurus. Brahmasri KPC Anijan Pattadaripad has clearly mentioned like this on Dvaida Advaita Siddhartham for me. So what I am telling today is not my knowledge. What I got from the Guru Parampara which taught me these substances.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Pranams. I am seeing some questions in the chat box. It appears and disappears. So if you can ask, that will be better.
I'll just read a couple of those that I'm able to see on the chat box. When,
Can I ask one question?
Yeah, Basavaraju Reddy, welcome.
So, as far as meditation is concerned,
Srinivas ji, can you unmute? It's making an echo, so when I
Yeah.
record it becomes disturbance. Yeah. Tell me, Basavaraju Reddy. Basavaraju Reddy,
sir,
please.
when we consider dhyana, meditation, there is a meditator and they think to be meditated. So that is the dilemma. When we are totally in dhyana, without the recognition of dhyani or dheya, do you say that is spiritualism?
See, I quote Swami Vivekananda in this case. What Swami Vivekananda said is, what is that you are thinking about in dhyanam, on whom you are doing what you called as meditation? Actually, your dhyanam, is it to my guru? Is it to my brother? Is it to my enemy? Is it to my friend? Is it to a god? That means you are thinking. There is a thinking process. You have his picture, you have his words, you have his address, you have his face, you have his dialogue with you. That means your brain is working. Brain is working, Indriya is working. Indriya working doesn't mean you are seeing it. Internally visualizing itself is a seeing. And two words Basavaraja mentioned.
Yes,
one is dhyana and second one is meditation. You must know the step in which yoga is being explained. Yama, non-violence. Niyama, self-discipline. I am using words very carefully. Yama, niyama. Asana is whichever style you want it to be, relaxed and sit. Not doing the monkey's task of putting your head down, leg up and all is new version of asana. Ashtanga yoga doesn't talk about this monkey's task. Okay. So yama, niyama, asana, pranayama. My breathing has to be normal. It is not abnormally breathing by closing one nose, closing another nose, taking lot of tension in you and then exerting yourself is not that. Casual, normal, without taxing yourself. Yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara. All your indriyas from outward is driven inside you. So you are not seeing. My eyes can be open, but I am not processing anything which I am seeing. Though I am in a center of a city, I am not hearing anything. But Vivekananda said you cannot meditate in crossroads. That doesn't mean you cannot stand there and meditate. Your mind is not attending anything. That is what he means. So, pranayama, pratyahara, then dharana. So, when I have a dharana, focused, where I am focusing on something. So, what is the simplest method? Focus in what is inside you. And that can be your guru. So you are not even thinking, it just becomes very casual. That is what I said. I think about my mother, I am not thinking, my brain is not taxing. So can I have something that can be God, that can be a picture, that can be a light, without thinking? My brain should not function that time. That ability of thinking. So what happens to most of the people when you think about God? They think about a temple and which doing pradakshina, so many people are around, so many thoughts will come, your brain is full. That cannot be dharana. Focus is only one point. That can be a light source, that can be inside you. So I keep saying the best thing is to keep thinking about your prana, breathing. That is what the best silence. Same Vivekananda's copy. What I did is copied from Vivek. What he said, you want to get into dharana, the best method is somebody can hold your face and put inside water. What are you thinking when you wanted the last breath before death? What do you think? Only I want one breath. Nothing else is in your mind. Can you be in that state? That is actually dharana state. Focused. Focused on what? Your breath alone. Because what is most important in life? Breath. I have faced maybe death 3-4 times in my life. Ask what is that last moment you think about it? You don't think about the brother, you don't think about the father, you don't think about God also. It's a blank thing. So dharana is always blank. I don't think I think about the most closest person also. When we go to Himalaya, Kailasa for pradakshina, we have got husband, wife, daughter, father, brother, children, everybody. But nobody goes with their family around the circumambulation. When you go for circumambulation, you are alone. Because what happens is, we cross the Yamadwar. We are already dead. That state of death is what is called actually dharana. When you reach there and you can stay there, dhyanam will comes in you. So that is why I keep saying, anybody can only take you to dharana level. Dhyana samadhi is what you attain. So most of the people, and samadhi is what is translated today as meditation. So how can somebody say, I meditate on dhyana, I meditate on Bhagavan? It is not there. Because at dharana level is what you are focusing. After dharana, there is no focus at all. You are only living. That is what it is. It needs to be understood, debated, lot of times think about it, come back with another question. You know how many questions would have asked to Ramana Maharshi by his students? How many questions Swami Rama's students would have asked Swami Rama? How many times I must have asked my guru to get it clarified and embedded in my brain? And probably I am not that wise or brilliant enough to explain to somebody else. It needs lot of times iterating, repeating, lot of examples, making people to think about it, so that these questions will not come at all. And this question should come. That is what is understanding. That's why I said I don't like lectures. We want lot of questions, so that out of 28 people, including me, 27 people attending, one more person could reach. Sometimes when I explain and I ask, have you understood this? They say, oh, I understood. I said, I myself did not realize it clearly. It is not that DrTPS understood this and saying. I am only interpreting, and you are supposed to reflect inside you, because I can only take you up to dharana. Dhyanam on this topic is your property. And getting that inside you is your ability. Similarly, the samadhi also. Nobody can give samadhi to somebody else. So how can I am a meditation master from Himalayas. But don't ask me whether I have taught meditation to somebody else. Never. And never ever in my life I can teach meditation to somebody also. Yeah.
Well, a meditator has no external life, sir.
Yeah, no external life. His breathing happens. It's like Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti. In that Sushupti avastha, I am there existing, but I am not closing my eyes and then sitting and or sleeping. I am giving lecture. That time also, I have lot of people in front of me in the screen. I am seeing everybody, but until and unless I focus on somebody else, I am only seeing, but nothing is going into my eyes to process. I am not hearing.
It's a natural process.
Yeah, that's a natural process. The way Basavaraja wanted to go to his house, from maybe inside your house, you want to go from one room to another room. Are you thinking or casually you go? So similarly, when the question comes, Dr. TPS is answering the question without thinking. I am not thinking. Therefore, it is not my buddhi who is talking to you. It is not my manas intentionally I am using words. It just flows. Like the way you walk, like the mother make dosha, like a driver is driving. So can you do your activity so casually? Then dharana is not there. Actually, dharana also diluted. You are automatically into dhyana. Intentionally, when I do dharana, it becomes taxing for me. So it has to be, there are a lot of spiritual people in this world who are actually into conscious actions. So I keep saying they are unconsciously conscious of doing things, consciously unconscious of doing things. This is my new terminology. Right? So how do you define somebody spiritual? Unconsciously I am conscious and consciously I am unconscious.
So that is a state of oneness, sir.
Yes.
When there is a state of oneness,
Oneness.
there is no question of personal commenting, questioning, nothing.
Yeah. That is what Bhagavan wanted. Uddhared atmanatmanam atmanam avasadhayet atmai vahyatmano bandhu atmai varipuratmanaha. And how do you, when you become that, automatically you are highly creative. Hridaya guhara madhye kevalam brahma matram. Inside your hridaya there is only Brahma. And that Brahma is what is acting. When Brahma acts inside you, Saraswati will come to your tongue. Lakshmi will come to your hand. Parvati will come to your muscles.
Yes, yes. Thank you, sir.
Namaskar.
Namaste.
Amazing, amazing progress. And we request for more expressions, your feelings, your thoughts. Feel free to start sharing. Don't worry about the quality of what you are attempting to express, but start expressing out. So that very approach may drive us to some level of understanding, some level of learning. Let that process happen. I appeal to all of you. Yes, please. And in the meantime, the child is born, and before the child is born, it was in the womb of the mother, and out in the spiritual world. Now, these are the things, I'm expressing these from a mixed context of what I heard, what I picked up, and certain times, maybe small traces of experience and things like that. So I'm not talking from a certain perfection, but I am correlating certain things so that this expression might give me a better clarity through the clarifications that you're going to put forth. So the child is coming up in the womb of the mother, and out in the spiritual world, there might be a process of how the soul decides to come into a certain womb, and there is a process that seems to be going on. This is one part of my expression, and the second one is, it also appears that the spiritual world, for example, if you take the simple example of rotation of the earth, there is a tremendous science behind the rotation of this earth. So therefore, I come to the feeling that the spiritual world is an amazing science. It's an amazing science within that spiritual world. Now, with all this, the child is evolved, the child is born, and from then, the earthly, from thereupon, the parents take over. Then after that, the schooling system, the other things take over. Now there is somewhere a big gap or a subtle gap. And how do we move on a seamless note? Is my question.
It's a natural process. There is nothing called I draw a format and say this is how it should be, or I don't have to force and say this is how it should be. Probably there is a ritualistic activity which was planned some time back because they are aware of this is how things should happen at the right time, at the right process. So there is a question which is asked, why the earth is revolving like this? Is it somebody's force? Is it a natural tendency? The answer is very simple, because keep asking a question how the electrons are moving around the neutrons. Is it somebody is asking? The answer is in our own mother tongue. The second alphabet is the answer for most of these questions. What is the second alphabet in our mother tongue? Ah. Ah. So we have no answer for this. See, the biggest problem is for human being, when we think that we are intellectually, in my book, when I gave this Life Made Simple is the book name. When I asked to write, I did not ask to write a foreword. I asked a great academician in Delhi University, who was also a great Vedic Pandit, who wrote great books on Kathakali itself, an artistic evaluator on most of the art forms in India. I asked him to write a last word on this, reflections from reviews. That's what I wrote, in which the first is written by Agavur Narayanan. He is a professor of linguistics and retired from Delhi University. He is no more now. Probably this is the last article he wrote. He wrote, this book is a modern Tirukural. I don't think anybody has to give me a Padma Bhushan or Padma Shri. This itself is great enough for me. Some great Pandit is writing on your book that this small book is modern Tirukural. Tirukural, if those people who don't know, it's like fifth Veda, which is the asset of Tamil. The Tamil literature is most precious because of Tirukural probably. And somebody writes, this is like a modern Tirukural where you have a lot of answers. Right? So I keep saying, the biggest problem is, life is very simple. We try to connect, we have to be spiritual, therefore what is to be done? We need an LKG spiritual classroom. And teacher has to be a spiritually enlightened person. I think that is why I wanted to give that example of Duryodhana. Though he was taught by a great guru, Duryodhana did not become Sattvic and Dharmic. So it is not the teachers, it is not the classroom which creates good students. It is not the family where you have taken birth gives you a great, becoming great in the life. Great in the sense, dharmic, sattvic and all that, if you call it as great. It is only satsang. Who is your mentor? Dharmaputra had Krishna as the mentor. Duryodhana had Shakuni as the mentor. Whose advice you are taking? With whom your association is? With whom you are moving? That will tell you what sort of quality you attain. So, it is not whether you have got a classroom, whether your parents are good, whether you have done all the ritualistic karmas from birth or not. I think everything would have been done by many of the great people also. Do you think I can boast to tell that I will become Prime Minister of India if I would have become son of Prime Minister? We cannot. So, it is all how well I am using my opportunities. And opportunities are open to every one of us. How is my attitude tuned? How do I get my attitude tuned? There are a lot of opportunities for everybody, but I am not capturing that because my attitude at that point of time is not tuned for that. So that is what a real life mentor can give. That is what the guidance is required. But with all that well protected, planned, well watered, everything doesn't make that plant to give nice fruits. That is what Bhagavan Krishnan said. Your karma, whether it gives fruits or not, depends on your internalized energy. That should be there. If that is there and you get the best environment, the product will come out. There are so many people who lived and died without even producing their own product. So I don't think a structured program, everything what I decide what is correct. How much knowledge we have today is very less. So it is not schooling, it is not parenting, it is not that the path which takes you there. Shankaracharya was not driven by any of the path. Shankaracharya drove himself to the path. So it's an internalized. That's why in the beginning I said the students make their masters. There are a lot of teachers in the world. Masters are very less. Probably a good student can create a good master by asking a lot of questions, like interacting. So getting a lot of teachers are there in this world. Rarely you see masters because rarely you see good students. So what is required is creating a good student. How do you get it? It's like a buffet. You keep on interacting with the world around and then be so social so that some point of time you get a spark. That spark will give you some connection to somebody at some point of time that will make you to get a good door open for you to take that path. That's what I believe. It's all accidental, not probably intentional. Anurag MS is sleeping? Or?
I need mute.
No problem. If he is not sleeping and snoring, no problem. It looks like snoring sound.
Well, today is a very special day. I am operating without my host status. You know that we started the subject with Mr. Anurat. Mr. Anurat.
He is into total meditation. That's wonderful state.
Yeah, absolutely.
I am so glad I am able to make somebody sleep like this.
Amazing.
Beautifully sleep.
Kindly, ladies and gentlemen, please, you know, today.
Can you just make him to quit, or maybe throw him out?
No, honestly, in today's program, there is no host. There is, I am not having the control, and no host today. But still, the program is going on. And my request to you is, other than Anurat, if the rest of you are unmuted, kindly mute. Mr. Appu, Siva Prakash Devendran.
No, somebody can unmute and ask questions. You don't require a special request for that. You could unmute.
Yeah, absolutely.
Otherwise, Srinivas-ji, there was some questions in the chat box. You could read it if you can.
Yeah, I will do that. And any questions or opinions, expressions from your end? Anyone? Atira. Yeah, Atira. Go on. Don't worry about this. Sorry. Please go on.
Yeah. Actually, people are saying there is a particular purpose for life. So basically, is it something accidental or natural or some purpose is something?
Yeah.
I think you did a great magic to Anurat.
Yeah, continue, Adira. I'm not able to.
My question was purposeful life.
Purposeful life.
Purposeful life.
Purpose for life. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, actually, see, there is a philosophical way of explaining this. You are a philosophy student, you should know, right? See, most of the things happens for no purpose. It is philosophers who find answers for something which doesn't have a perfect answer. That's why it is called philosophy, right? So we can only philosophically answer this concept of life. What is philosophically? We have a life, and that is why we are asking this question. Suppose we don't have this life, will you ask this question? No. So what is the purpose of life? Identifying the purpose of life itself is the purpose of life. Got it? So how do you realize it? You realize it only when you go to higher and higher level of knowledge. So what is the purpose of life? Attaining higher knowledge is the purpose of life, even for an animal or for a human being. And what will happen to animals? They attain their purpose of life by acquiring knowledge around their father, mother, brother, sister, neighbors. Human being, we attain our purpose of life by understanding the documents made by many people who has lived before us. That is why we are called knowledgeful people. How do plants and animals, see, you can ask a question. The flower blossoms. What is the purpose of a flower blossoming? If it is in your garden, it is for you to pluck it and put into puja room. Saurabhyamulla kusumam karame lebichal puricha ghanavadetu mudikku chudu. For a lady, a flower is for picking it up and then plucking it and putting in her. So the purpose is finished. Now I will ask a question. What is the purpose of a natural flower which is in a forest blooming? Nobody is going to pluck it. Yeah, then we will say there is a bee coming and taking it. So for every life there is a purpose. Right? What is the purpose of DrTPS, which was not intentionally made by my parents while creating me? It is for me as human being. Naturally defined purpose is for the flower and the bees and the animals, and that's why they are called different. What is that our purpose? Our purpose is creating knowledge, sharing it, so that next people will be able to ask this question. Somebody will think more and higher, propagate this knowledge. That is why we keep saying, no, ahara nidra bhaya maithunani samani chaitani nranam pashunam jnanam naranam adhigo vishesho. As a human being, we have a responsibility to get lot of knowledge and make Adira fit for asking this question. So the purpose of Adira is to make you to fit this question in your brain so that you can ask somebody. What was purpose of Arjuna? If Arjuna was not there, Gita would not have been there. Krishna will get no chance to give this song of knowledge, great philosophy of life. He will never get a chance to tell somebody else. So who created Bhagavad Gita? Don't tell it is Krishna. It is Arjuna who created Bhagavad Gita. Got it? So that is how we say, no, Upanishad is the cow and Arjuna is the calf, so that the Gita Doodh will come. So the calf is essential here. So everyone has a purpose. Only thing, you have to get into that maturity, not one level, next level, to really come into purpose. So before that also we have a purpose. That is genuinely very low level probably. Highest level comes for some people after some point of time. So searching that purposeful life is what required after gaining lot of knowledge. So the first step is gaining knowledge. That's why Krishna also said, needs lot of janma to listen to Bhagavad Gita once. And you need many more janmas probably to understand Bhagavad Gita. And you need many more janmas to get a chance to speak Bhagavad Gita sometime. We are all blessed because we have gone through some path somewhere here and there.
Well, coming to the Athira, you have something more to ask? Okay. And continuing on Athira's point, now is it possible that we have a self purpose, meaning that a purpose for ourselves, and on the contrary, the purpose is for the common fold, the common good of the people, the common good of the species, existence. What would it be about the purpose?
If at all there is a living being including microbes to 126 millions of microbes, that many number of flies, that many number of two-legged animals, that many number of four-legged animals, everything together. If there is only one creature in this world which is only useful for themselves, that is human being. We are useless for most of the other creatures in the world. But every other creature in the world is useful for somebody else. So the basic question which Srinivas-ji asked is very purposeful. Are we useful for somebody else? No other creature requires human being. So what is the best purpose which we can define ourselves? How far I am going to be helpful for other persons, other individuals in the world? How do I make the other animals in an amicable situation, more convenient situation where I can create some contribution to the nature so that the purpose of my life can be more purposeful for the generations to come, including other animals. Otherwise also they are useful and helpful. How can I make them more convenient for helping others? Will I be able to create a situation? That is why in Sanatana Dharma, Hindu Shastra, there are two sets of karma which define Sanatana Dharma. No other definitions in Sanatana Dharma is applicable, which is true. Actually, this question of Srinivas explains Sanatana Dharma. What is that? If my purpose is for myself, that is called Ishta Karma. That was the first question which Srinivas-ji asked. Is it my purpose, my intention to serve me? Yes. That is Ishta Karma. For what purpose? To give me sufficient energy, sufficient knowledge and sufficient ability to serve all other living beings in the world. And that serving is called Purta Karma. Ishtate labate surgam purte moksham avapniyat. If you do Ishta Karma, you get surga. You want moksha, permanent appearance or disappearance and merging with God, what you are supposed to do is Purta Karma. What is Purta Karma? The Purta Karma is Vapi Kupa Tatakani Devatane Nanicha Annapradana Mudyanam Purtam Mitya Vidiyade. Create a beautiful lake. If there is a lake, try to clean it. Create a lot of garden in which you plant a lot of fruit bearing trees, not for you to eat. All other animals, all other creatures can eat. One mango tree is planted, it is not for you to eat. There are the flowering season, the bees, flies will come, put egg there. And that will get ripened, that will become a worm and a butterfly. And the crow will eat, the squirrel will eat. Once it is fallen, the worms will eat again. The ants will eat. The dog, many animals will eat. So, your mango tree planting, Annapradana Mudyanam. Plant a lot of such trees which are fruit bearing, flower bearing. Trees which will become helpful for many other creatures in the world. That is what is called the Purta Karma. So, what is Sanatana Dharma? Ishta Purtam is Sanatana Dharma. Rarely you hear this explanation, I will tell you. Ishta Purtam is Sanatana Dharma, which is not from any textbook or Google. It is what my Guru taught me when I asked the similar questions.
Jay, Jayashree Deshpande ji, Ram Kumar, can you please mute?
Yeah, you can ask questions if you have something to ask.
Well, this is, well, is there somebody else wanting to say something?
Narayan, Ram Kumar.
I will do the filler of the gaps.
Yeah.
So, because I'm basically a man with hundreds of questions, so I can keep asking questions continuously. So don't allow me to do that, because I'll also be dominating on this side.
We had a great interaction when Srinivas ji came to my house in Hyderabad, and we had in the garden we had at least 3-4 hours, Srinivas ji.
Absolutely.
Lot of questions and answers. That was really good questions.
Let me tell you, Dr. TPS.
Yeah.
In fact, me being an admin here and a host, and without having the position, I'm not able to play the host and a few other things, you know. I will not be getting the full concentration.
I know.
will not get the full concentration to
I know.
focus.
Yeah.
So now, the kind of value that happened today,
Yeah.
that video, this video that you're recording, I must definitely watch it and listen to it at least about 4 or 5 times to internalize the beautiful things that you have said. Thank you so much for all. Now, this is leading me to the next crazy question, I would say. Kindly pardon me for asking this crazy question. And that is, now, on one side you said Ishta Karma, and what is the second term you
Purta Karma.
Purta Karma.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yes.
Right. Now in the Ishta Karma, you satisfy yourself.
Yeah.
And how much you want to satisfy, every human being knows.
Yeah.
And how much of unlimited satiations people go for.
Yes.
That's all to everybody.
Yeah.
Now, coming to the Purta Karma, there are people who make something, and out of that, they make. And they say that. There is a big joke about a famous film actor in Tamil Nadu. Let me not share the name. And this man who made millions of money, he, like a kanjus, he will give 100 rupees or 500 rupees or 1,000 rupees when somebody goes for some support. And people would jocularly say that actor said, he gave me the small 50 rupees and says that use it carefully for the next 1 month or 2 months or 3 months. Right? So there are people who measure so carefully and part with their whatever they have. I mean, not the whole thing. And there are people who could be liberal also. Now on the Purta, there can be several versions of participating in the Purta Karma. Right, sir? Now my question is, fundamentally, if it is a fact that we are all spiritual beings, that exalted status, and from that exalted status, we have come down to a human form, and again doing the cycling towards that exalted status. What is all this drama about? Is this very birth really purposeful? This is my question.
Your purpose of life is to be defined by the level in which you are there. What is that environment which you have been driven by? You gave an example of somebody giving something. There could be hundreds of reasons for him to be so. We are only seeing one portion of what he does. Maybe what happens is, in life there is a beautiful example where Swami Vivekananda demonstrated on all these aspects. He is a very Raja Yoga is what you demonstrate practically. So Bhagavad Gita talks about Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga. What is contribution of Swami Vivekananda which took the message of Bhagavad Gita to West is the Raja Yoga. What is Raja Yoga? How diplomatically I will present this fact which is explained in the textbook practically to the people who don't understand that easily. So what he did, he has lot of stories as appendix to him. When he was sitting, somebody else came and gifted a great lot of money to him. He knew that somebody is going to come and gift him that money. So in America, there is a practical way of accepting things. You must say thank you. Saying thank you is a normal casual gratitude showing. So every time you should say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Vivekananda, being an Eastern man, probably he is not that kind enough. That may be the reason he would not have told thank you. Actually, that is not the reason. But the Englishman who gave money felt so unhappy. When I gave large amount also, this Saffron Swami is not giving a thanks also to me. So he asked Swami Vivekananda, why you did not thank me for giving this large gift? Swami Vivekananda gave a reply saying that it is in fact you should thank me for accepting this. You should thank me for accepting this. Why? Why did you give this money to me? See, why do somebody give money to somebody else? When a beggar comes, we are giving that money. Why are we giving? Actually, we are boosting our own ego, saying that I gave money. Assume that you are giving to somebody on your marriage day or birthday, or maybe when great guests are there around you, you will give a larger amount. If nobody is there, you may give a less amount. So actually, gifting is a showing of ego, so that internally you get little bit happy. That is why most of the beggars, the begging people stay close to the temple, because they are emotionally terrifying you, saying that in front of the God at least show your gratitude of parting what you have, right? So Vivekananda got this money. He made a beautiful drama with some of his people who are with him as supporters. He told, as soon as this man keeps the money there, I am not going to give thank you. Instead of that, I said you should thank me for accepting the money. Not just it is not over there. The story is not over. Somebody picked up this money and then ran. As if somebody is stealing the money what is given to Swami Vivekananda. So Swami Vivekananda coolly sat and then looked at the person who is running with the money. The person who gifted the money was running behind for catching that thief. So Swami Vivekananda asked him, you have already given that money to me. Why are you behind it again? Actually, when I receive it is mine, I should run behind, right? I am very cool. I am not running behind it. But whereas the giver is running behind it. So most of us have this concept. The gratitude is over once it is given. Even when we give something we offer to the temple, what do? We want our names to be pronounced. Even you steal flower from somebody's garden and then go to a temple and tell your address, tell your age, tell your name, tell your star, and then tell the pujari, when you give this offer to the god, you should put my name and my star very specifically. Is it that I am offering? And what purpose we have when you offer something and give something? Actually, the Bharatiya Siddhantam talks about, why am I giving something to somebody? Why am I offering something to God? Vairagya siddhyartham samarpayami. Vairagya siddhyartham samarpayami. I don't want. I am giving this with no intention. Not even a thank you I want when I give something to God. When I offer something to somebody else, I don't want anything. That bhavam when you give, that only can be called as a gift. That is the first thing. Second thing, even when I am giving something, the Agnihotra, when we practice Agnihotra, there is a beautiful chanting. Suryaya Swaha, Suryaya Idam Namama. I am offering the havis, maybe little bit of rice and ghee put together, I am putting in the fire. That is the homam which I do. I was an Agnihotri for long years. When I do this, am I thinking the rice belongs to me? Am I thinking the ghee belongs to me? I have spent money, then I am a fool. So what is that chanting which makes me to keep on repeating? The rice is not mine, ghee is not mine. The ghee is not mine, I purchased it from somewhere. Money is not mine, somebody gave me for what I have done for somebody else. Am I owning something? The whole purpose of rituals which we do, even in the Ishtakarma, even when you go for your daughter has to get married, you do a special puja, offer something with a special note of paying as much money as you want. You know, the pujari goes and gives to God, keep saying, Vairagya Siddhartham Samarpayami, without any expectation, somebody has given this flower to you, without any expectation, the milk is being offered to you. So everything when you do, our ego should be shut, it is not mine, I have no intention. So I don't want is what is being taught to us. Unfortunately, in Bharatiya Shastram, in what we call it as Hindu rituals, we have forgotten the objective and scope of most of the rituals. If you understand the objective and scope, we understand we have very less intention. So the purpose of Ishtakarma is, though I said Ishtakarma is for your purpose, the purpose of Ishtakarma is to make me to understand I don't want anything. A beautiful question which made me to think and to reflect on this.
Amazing, sir. So the very purpose of karma is to realize that I don't want anything.
I don't want it. Nothing is mine. Nothing is mine.
Well, in a way, we keep seeking. We try. We make an attempt to get something. There is one category of people who are still not satisfied, and there is another category of people who say that enough is enough. I've done sufficiently. Now I'm a retired person. I do not want to get involved in any more of those things. In spite of the fact that they could be wonderful intellectual, they can still contribute. But for some reason, they do not want to get into this game anymore. So there are people like that also. Great, sir.
Yeah.
And anybody else?
No, actually, Srinivasji, there is a small correction. See,
Yeah.
during Brahmacharya, I am gaining lot of knowledge from different people in the world. Having gained that knowledge, I must use that. If I have to bring a family, I have a Kudumba Dharma. So from Brahmacharyam, I go to family life. After family life, I get into Vanaprastha. The Vanaprastha is where I don't get involved in many of the things. Consolidate my retirement so that I get prepared for social service. When I do fully involved into social service, that is called sannyasam. So when I get into sannyasam, I become totally clean without any intention. Somebody wants me, I will make a comment. Somebody wants me for some purpose, I will start involving. That's all what we are supposed to do. So it is not that when I get sufficient money, I start giving. There is a need has to come from somebody else. So that need comes, and who is supposed to make this happen? Those people who got it from your Garhastya time, those people who got it from the Vanaprastha time, who had some association, should use you in your sannyasa level. That is why in Raja, all the kings in the Indian tradition, you can see they had lot of advisors, lot of guru people. They are supposed to be the wisest people who advise us. Only when there is a suggestion asked, you don't involve in any of the day-to-day activities. Administration is not your job. But when administration needs your advice, you are ready to support. When the family needs an advice, you are ready to support. That impassionate, passionate, in action impassionate, but passionate in their job what they do. That is what is called a detached attachment, attached detachment, without binding, without bondage. If you ask me, fine. If you don't ask me, no problem. If you ask me, I am conveniently comfortable, I will do it. This is what is to be done in this world.
Amazing, amazing, sir.
So you have a social responsibility. Don't run away from society because you got everything from the world. Everybody, that is why the next Agnihotra chanting is Suryaya Swaha Suryaya Idam Namama Prajapataye Swaha Prajapataye Idam Namama. I got everything from this world around me. So my job is to give everything back to the society. So social responsibility was part of our life. That is why human beings are called human being. Social beings are called social being.
Because at the end of, however much I try,
Yeah.
I don't see any possibility of taking a few things along with me. So since that is not a possibility, so it's better that I give it away in my living life itself. And am I audible to you?
Yes, yes, yes.
Absolutely. I think this cycles of brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyasa.
Yeah,
I think one of the profound explanations.
yeah.
Although I've heard several versions of it, this is pretty profound. Anybody else?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I want to ask one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. How to attain eternal bliss? One question. And second question is that is it possible to stop doing concentration only, or will I have to move to meditation also?
I think we have deliberated this in the beginning many times, but still I will continue in a different style, probably I can say. The first process for attaining bliss is I don't want. So the earlier also I said the most of the people will not be able to attain bliss because they are actually starving for bliss. You must be filled, not starved. So how do you fill it? When you become 200% busy in serving society and you find happiness in people around you. When people around you are totally in happiness, definitely what you attain inside you is, that is why a spiritually enlightened person, blissful person becomes so upset on seeing somebody's small disagreement, somebody's small unhappiness, and they really get irritated because it's like in a pure water you have a small dirt. So it is not you. The people around you also need to be in such a, that is why ashrams, that is why people go away from, that is why we say no, maybe after garhasthyam you need vanaprastha. Being inside your house, whether you can have vanaprastha, it's very rarely possible for many people. So the first step is don't become actually greedy for becoming bliss, enlightened and all that. Instead of that, be in action, totally enjoy your work. It is not running away from the actions. Swakarma, swabhava, swadharma, all these have to be completely enjoyed. Otherwise, even after going somewhere else, you will start thinking, oh, I should have done this, I should not have done this. There is a beautiful Malayalam movie called Chindavishtayaya Shyamala. Chindavishtayaya Shyamala. Beautiful Malayalam movie. Running away from all the responsibilities, he is wanted to become a sannyasi. And everywhere he finds it very difficult for attaining happiness. So it is not running away from your responsibilities, enjoying your responsibilities. Probably get slowly not bounded. You should need to be attached. Attachment is part of life. Without attachment, without feeling, you cannot be a human being.
And is it possible to stop till concentration?
Actually, concentration is like a Shraddha will come only when you have interest in that. So how do you get interest? You are interested in playing I am interested in swimming. How do I get interested in swimming? When my skill development happens. So these lectures are given. See, Arjuna is being taught how to fight. It is not that Arjuna do not know how to fight. The purpose, objective of fighting is being cleared by questions which Arjuna asked. Right? So if your skill is very clear, your concentration in fighting becomes very clear, like Arjuna got full concentration in fighting. Therefore, he could become Vijaya and Sri. Two things are required. We want to be successful, we want to be happy also. It is not desireless. Whatever I do, I am able to do it with 100% perfection. How do I do it? I need skill, I need opportunity, I need attitude. So attitude setting is what Krishna has done, for which you need to have lot of questions and answers. Everybody has conflicts and confusion. My buddhi will say, oh, I should do like this. My manas, my intention, my feeling will tell, this is how I should do it. There is an internal conflict. Actually, full communication which happens inside us is between the buddhi and the manas. Buddhi and the manas. Buddhi and the manas starts conflicting. That conflict is what Bhagavan Krishna says, your enemy is inside you. So how do I clear it? By becoming more focused. Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. With full focus you get knowledge. And with the knowledge you go to higher and higher level. Therefore your karma becomes meditative karma. That is why it is called karma sannyasa yoga. It is not sannyasam without karma. Karma sannyasa yoga. Unfortunately, our meditation practitioners ask to close our eyes and then practice meditation. Fortunately, I belongs to Himalayan tradition meditation, where we believe meditation in action. When DrTPS is teaching, I am talking about these questions and I am giving an answer. I am meditating. So for last so many minutes, the session is running almost 1.5 hours. I am into full meditation. So I don't recur to close eyes and then put my hand like this and then do drama. Actually, that is stupidity. When I am cooking, I am meditating. When I am driving, I am meditating. That should be the path of meditation.
This leads me to the next basic question.
Yeah.
What is meditation?
Yeah, that is what we said, Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. When you get into all these steps, your action becomes so simple and casual, where your brain, electroencephalograph, your brain will become non-functional. There will be no vibrations. You are not thinking. When my mother's picture is shown, immediately, oh, this is my mother. Without thinking, I can tell. When dal vada is, I tell dal vada, you are not thinking, oh, what is the shape of dal vada. When I say urundu vada, when I say dosha, immediately the dosha picture comes to you. It is not taxing to you because it's so natural for you. The taste of that will come to your tongue. And everything is so natural, right? Are you taxing your brain? Similarly, when I ask a mathematics theorem, will you be able to tell? When I ask about Srinivas-Ramanujam's life story, do I have to refer some book? I don't have to refer book if I look at him so close as my mother, my father, me, myself. So me being me is equivalent to the people. When I talk about Vivekananda, am I thinking so seriously? How should I speak about Vivekananda? Not required. Because it has become so natural to me. See, when Vivekananda keep talking about India, he keeps saying, you want to know India, I am the condensed India. You ask me anything on India, I will tell. See that because it is not that he knows the number of people living, number of ladies, number of gents, the geographical situation. No. The objective and scope, the message which India has, the philosophy of India, that knowledge is there with us. How can you be so casual in understanding what you need to know around you, which you have focused at some point of time? Are you able to, today before this session I had 2 sessions. One was with person, a priest in Africa, where he wanted to know what is spirituality. We had a short dialogue. Before that, I had a master's student in economics who wanted to know what is econometrics. I have explained a full chapter. Is it that I am an exponent or I know econometrics? I don't know actually. I don't know econometrics at all. But when that student keep reading line by line, I am able to reflect, I am able to understand, I am able to talk. Oh, immediately the students, now I understood. That's enough. So are you able to reflect on something? The mirror reflects everything which comes on its face. It is not that mirror has my picture, your picture. When you are in front, the mirror reflects. When you go and somebody else comes, the mirror reflects. Can you be a mirror? That is what Shankara says, Manam Darpana Samanam. Your mind has to be like a darpan. But I will not be able to do it if that person doesn't come in front of me and ask this question. When they ask, I will be able to reflect. So beyond limits, you don't have a syllabus, you don't have a dictionary, you start reflecting. To what level you can reflect, that level you are a realized person. That's what is called realization. You are able to realize, you are able to taste. A good cook is one, when you look at the taste of the food, he knows, oh, what is the ingredient there. He need not do an analysis. He don't have to ask somebody else. So, when you drive a new vehicle which comes to you, you know how to drive because you have driven some other vehicle. So, that experience you can easily transform to a new field. Can you become so comfortable in transferring what experience you have in a newer place, in a newer method? That is actually meditation. And that, we call it meditation, but actually it is samadhi. Dhyanam. I am able to focus, therefore I am able to reflect. So casual reflection is what is samadhi. I am seeing a lot of chat. I want people to come and then ask some questions. When I use chat, probably Srinivas-ji asked me to record. My record gets slightly, sometime can create problem. That's why I am not venturing to look at the chat. I am seeing some chat comes, reflects and then goes off.
Atira, are you able to hear me?
Adira. Yeah, leave it. Adira, I think got stuck here.
Okay. Fine. Now, my next question is, everybody born on this earth have got a purpose. Statement number one. The second one is, by any chance, can human beings be born without a purpose also? Question number two. And people can be born with small purposes or big purposes? Question number three. And question number four is, what is the ultimate purpose of life?
See, when we say Vivekananda contributed great things in this world, Vivekananda had a purpose for his life. Now understand what is Vivekananda's father's and mother's purpose. They had a purpose and that purpose was producing Vivekananda probably. So sometimes we get confused. Whether my life is purposeful or not, it has been. And he had a professor where he could ask some question and that professor took him to somewhere else. See, when I give a lecture or when I go back to my hometown in small town in village in Kerala, my Malayalam professor, my science teacher, my Malayalam teacher who taught me in my childhood also come and meet me. I keep saying I am like this a scientist today because of you. Don't ask me what is that Malayalam teacher contributed to make you a space scientist. No. Their basic lessons of LKG, UKG, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, all of them have contributed something to somebody. So everyone has a purpose. That is why we say every human being has a purpose. Even when somebody scolds me, there is a purpose. When somebody spoils me, there is a purpose. because it refines me sometimes. So it is an evolution process. So every one of us, when a nice stone which is rolling in a river becomes so smooth and nice, we use it as a paperweight on our table. The stone becomes more smooth by hitting on many of the different stones. Many stones would have been broken by hitting. This portion of the stone also would have lost so many pieces from its own. The big stone which was very sharp has become smooth and smooth by shredding. That is what is called criticism. Criticism is what? Rupam. Nirupanam. Nirupanam is the word. What is Nirupanam? Criticism. What is criticism? Giving the shape. So every critic who finds fault with you is also making you smoother and smoother and smoother. So who doesn't have a role? I keep saying, in my body, probably 90% of my Annamaya portion, my body itself is made sustained by many people in the world. I should not say 90%. 100% is given by somebody's food. Yesterday I was mentioning to someone about the food what we eat. We think it is only 2 rupees rice. Actually 2 rupees is not the rice cost. If you look at the land value, if you look at the water which is consumed for this paddy to grow, if you look at the human resources which is used, the fertilizer, seed, everything, environment which was, and transportation cost, cooking cost, and putting on your plate. You know what is the cost of one meal which you are eating? It must be costing around 5,000 rupees in materialistic cost alone. But we don't value them because the price of rice which we get is only 5 rupees probably. After cooking, what you get is 2 rupees or 5 rupees. So we have to value. So don't measure the rice value by what you pay. Don't measure somebody's contribution. Oh, DrTPS has contributed something. No, I have not contributed. I became a tool in which many people have contributed and they all worked on me to make me like this today. That's what we should say. So I keep asking a question, is Vivekananda great or Ramakrishna is great? Ramakrishna made Vivekananda. So Ramakrishna is great for me than Vivekananda. Because Vivekananda is known only because of Ramakrishna. But Ramakrishna is known only because of Vivekananda. So everybody has a contribution to give. Many people don't realize it. That's the biggest problem. When I say, I must also understand that my father had a role, my mother had a role. I keep on quoting my mother contributed a lot in my life.
Ultimate purpose of life
Is that that's what I told. As a human being, we have a purpose to serve many other people in this world, so that chain of supplement, and then serving the whole universe to sustain like this, we have a great role to play. And that is what we are looking at, because we have a great ability to understand, learn, and then contribute for somebody's learning. So teaching and learning, that is what our life is. That's why I keep saying LIFE is live in full enjoyment. Learn in full enjoyment. That is what we are supposed to do. Ultimate life is learning, earning, fame, enjoyment.
Right.
Learning, earning, fame, enjoyment.
And to do a brief summing up
Yeah.
of what I think I have learned today is that at the Brahmacharya stage, you learn as much as you can. And in the process of learning, move as much towards your self-discovery. I think if you are able to discover yourself far better or with absolute clarity, then there is every possibility that you will be able to understand the other people, other species, other things far better. This is the goal of Brahmacharya. Then after that, you become a Grahastha. In the Grahastha, you have a man and woman to serve for, coexist. There is a complementary function that is happening, and you are also becoming the reason for new progeny. The soul that wants to dawn on this earth you are becoming a beautiful medium, like how Vivekananda's parents gave birth to Swami Vivekananda. So that process goes on so beautifully in the Grihastha stage. Then after that, whatever you have brahmacharya and whatever you have earned and contributed to your family and your neighborhood, when we enter the Vanaprastha, we become even more liberal in giving away the knowledge that we have acquired, the wisdom that we have, and also the possessions that we have with us. Why? Because at that part of life, it is but a fact that you're not going to carry anything towards the end of your life. You'll have to leave everything back. So therefore, instead of allowing or making your own kith and kin fight with each other to sort out how the possessions have to be balanced, in your lifetime, do a good justification and give away whatever you have to the people to whom you're grateful, to whom you have a responsibility, and also to the rest of the society. The more large-hearted you are in giving away the knowledge and the wisdom that you have, and in giving away the possessions that you have, probably that will be a much cherished life. Then at the end of life, getting back to your spiritual status. And this is probably the sum up. I don't think I've done the total sum up, but the little that I've understood for today is this, and I request DrTPS to do a grander sum up only today, sir, with a special request that I think personally I feel that we need to continue this discussion for one more session. If the 23 people, in fact about 30, I could see about 30 people coming, and there was a floating population which I did not make count. So with the floating population, it could have touched about a 40. And if the members present here, you feel that, because you all by now know that Sky Global School is all about learning, unlearning, relearning, right? If there is something very strong that we can further learn on Dharma, Adharma and Swadharma, I think my vote is to go for one more session at least. And can I have some views from the participants? If you like to go for one more session, can you put a thumbs up? Can you put a thumbs up, please? Any takers for that? One more. Yes, Priya, thank you. Any more?
Actually, Srinivas-ji, Srinivas-ji,
Yeah.
it is not intentionally I spoke about few points. If I relook at it, probably I will define Dharma in an entirely different style also. You know, Purusharthas have to be understood perfectly well in life. What is Purushartha? We have a desire to fulfill. To fulfill the desire, we need Artha. So, Kama Artha. And that materialistic or the means of realizing my desire is what is called Artha. Desire is there and there is an Artha for satisfying my desire, which can be through two ways, adharmic and dharmic, which is justified by me, for me, so that I will not question me after some time. So if I do that, that is called dharmic. And what is ultimately what I get is moksha. So what is dharma? Which gives me moksha is what is called dharma. That way also it can be defined. So it is not that no, in few lines I can say, oh, this is what is, no. It's like a panoramic view. From where I am looking, which angle I am looking, which height I am looking, where I am standing, that will give me a panoramic view differently. If I am beside a mountain and looking from down, mountain looks so huge. If I go on top of the mountain, the land around it looks so big. So it is not very simple to conclude and say this is that, or what I said is what is Sanatana Dharma, what is Dharma. I think Malati has some point to say. Unmuted and then...
You're unmuted for a long time, Malati ji.
I have led the session, and after all, if for us to discover what we are as a human being, what is human, and how will you educate the youth to be a human?
Yeah, to educate the youth is very simple. Every adult person should understand first. The biggest problem is people don't understand and they learn and teach without practicing. So what we are lacking today is acharyas. Yadyada jarati sreshta tattadevetarocana sayat pramanam kurute lokastadanuvartate. Looking at somebody, you must feel, oh, this is the actual person to whom I should follow so that I can learn something and then I can share with my people. No. That is lacking. Yeah, practical people. Practical is what is lacking. Yesterday I had a session for teachers. I was telling why education system in India is a failure, because educationists never practice what they do. If I teach mathematics, I must be able to practice mathematics. If I teach science, I must be able to practice science. That we don't do. That's the biggest problem. So we need people who are acharyas. At least how can any individual who understands in family. So we need a conscious living. So these days my focus is on conscious living. I think tomorrow, day after tomorrow, I have a philosophy lecture in one of the Delhi University colleges. And the talk is how do you make your karma a conscious karma. We do so many things unconsciously, consciously, and consciously, unconsciously. I am eating some food without even knowing that I am eating. So soon after that you ask, what did you eat? I don't know. Whether salt was more, I don't know. Because our focus is not there. Got it? So we have become so unnatural, we don't even understand what we are doing. So we live a life and ultimately you ask, what did you live? What for you did? I don't know what did we do. So we created 2 houses. Every bird also creates nests. Right? So it is not constructing house is my intention of my life. That is where the question of being human. Human being. Very clear. Being social. Social being. It is not I am purposeful for my family. For my selfishness, let me serve the society around. Ena kena prakarena. What you do, where you do, how do you do, doesn't matter. Ena kena prakarena. Yasya kasyabi. Whatever you do, wherever you do, whenever you do, how do you do, doesn't matter. Sandosham janayat pratna tadaivam ishvara pujanam. How do you make somebody else happy? Not temporary happiness. For a long term, how do you make them happy? Temporary happiness is very simple. Many people do that. How do you make for a longer happiness? Oh, I heard, I was with him. I learned this much from him. So it helped me to build my life in a different style. How many such people you could make in your life? That is your balance in life. That is the credit in each one of our life.
Thank you. Thank you.
Pranams.
Amazing, amazing. And whatever Dr. TPS just now said, if that kind of a focus living happens, let me go back to the food, the subject of food. As Dr. TPS has rightly said, many of us, we just gulp our food, watch the TV, or be on the mobile, and so many other things. And we don't take the food with respect that the food is to be given. Now watch very, very carefully. Now, if I have the focus on the food, and when I am eating with a meditative mind, what happens is that every morsel of the food gets into my body in the way it is to get into. For example, nature cure people that you will have to eat the liquid and you will have to drink the solid. This is one of the saying. I hope you understand that. Okay. Eat the liquid and drink the solid. So that much of churning should happen at the mouth itself, so that a major part of the a good part of the digestion, or you're facilitating your body in the digestion. Now I'm just touched the mouth region. From thereafter, until the food goes onto the anus, if you are in a meditative state, and even in the toilet, with a meditative mind, you have observed the excreta to come out. You by then, your body, the cellular structure, the cells, which are the greatest doctors in the world, you would have understood about your body far, far well. And if you have been a very, very observant person, in a couple of moves like that, you yourself would have become a great doctor. Now this is just one example. So like this, every part of your life, if you had lived like that, see how many wonderful things would have happened. And that is the possibility of this life. And how well are utilizing this life is the whole matter. And in a way, I'm also pretty happy that Sky Global School is all about combining the various age groups come together. And today, with the videos on, I'm able to see or smell something like an age group of the early 20s. There are people in the 20s, and on the higher age group, there are youngsters at say in their 80s. So there are youngsters at 80s, and there are youngsters in the 20s also in this group. In fact, Sky Global School is specifically designed for age group between 0 to 100 to come together and learn. And this is one of the answers that I would like to pass on to Malati ji. How do we educate the youngsters? Ask them to come to the Sky Global School forums so that all age groups together let us learn. There is nothing that I conclude that DrTPS knows everything. TPS is a prolific, he is a Himalayan meditator. Everything is there. But I do not know that TPS may know everything of the cosmos. So probably he will be having his own higher levels of learning. And you have seen how I was asking questions, and what kind of a learner I would have been, and in which level I am. You would have already judged me. So these are the possibilities that are there here with us, and let us make good of these opportunities and start really growing together. And
Namaskaram, Isabel from Argentina.
Right.
Namaste. Thank you to all.
Glad you are here.
I am Isabel from Argentina. I am a pleasure with you, and my permanent struggle is the search for knowledge, and this what is always teach my students from my area, that is the body. I am a teacher for education, physical education, not dividing from the part, knowing and preserving traditions, respecting nature. I believe that this what human beings must preserve and teach one from their place, home, school, society, and religion, and spirituality, so that our lives are accompanying nature, but our own and that of the planet. Namaste to all.
Really true.
Namaste.
Namaskar.
Namaste to all.
And